All right, welcome back to digitizing your hand drawing for architecture, with architectural 3D modeling. If you missed the first video, please go back and watch that, finish working on that, finish getting uh, your floor plan digitized, because today we're going to work on, in this video, we're going to work on um, actually adding in the walls. And importantly, I'd like to have the walls so that you can show and hide the individual walls so that they're separate components. And you can see I can move these things around and they're separate components. So, where you should have gotten to last time is about here. And we made a new component called 311 North, named after the room. And then in that component, we made a sketch. I called it floor plan base. If we go in and look at that sketch, it's got our dimensions, and it's a fully constrained sketch, and it's got all the dimensions that we measured when we were measuring the room. So there's a couple of things I want to add in. I'm going to finish sketch to get out of that. And there's a couple of things that I want to add in, some parameters. So I'm going to go to parameters. By the way, I have my little f of x here pinned to my menu. If you don't see it, you go down to modify and go down to change parameters. It'll bring you to this parameters table. All right, and the two parameters that I want to add in for right now are the two ceiling heights. So I'm going to call the first one ceiling height, and in inches, I have 109 inches. All right, I'm getting that from my drawing. And for a comment, I could say in the main part of the room. You don't have to leave a comment, but that's just, that can help keep things organized. All right, and then the other important ceiling height is the ceiling height in the closet area. And so I'm going to call that closet height. I'm using HT as an abbreviation for height. And in the closets, it was 96 inches high inside the closets. All right. So there's my two parameters. Oh, and then there's two more parameters, which these are important. These are not something that you actually measured. They are just something that I happen to have taken a note of while we were over at the building. We have the outside wall thickness, and it's 8 inches thick. Okay, and then we have inside wall thickness, and those are 6 inches thick. Okay, because our outside walls are a little thicker than our inside walls. Take a look here, and if you look from above, it's sort of subtle, but these two walls, this wall and this wall, are the outside walls, and they're a little bit thicker than the inside walls, this and this. All right, so great. Now we've got the base floor plan here. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to make a new sketch. I'm also going to make a new component, and I'm going to call that component walls. And I want it to be a subcomponent. This is the component that contains the entire model that I'm working on, the entire room. I'm going to right-click on this and say New Component, and I'm going to call it Walls. All right, so here's the subcomponent walls. And within walls, I'm going to show the origin, and I'm going to create a new sketch on the, this is just along with the floor, in the same plane as the floor plan. All right, and so I got this, it sort of still has the sketch here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the project tool to project this sketch onto the current sketch that I'm using. And this, by the way, I'm going to rename this sketch wall thicknesses, or no, I'm just going to call it wall bases. That's a little more descriptive. All right, and I'm going to come in here to the Create menu, and I'm going to say Project, or you can hit the P key to project, and if I double click on that, it'll select all of these lines, and I'm going to project it in. So we'll say OK. All right, great. So now I have the geometry from the other sketch projected in here. I could also, by the way, do all of this in one sketch, but for reasons you might figure out later, I think it's a little nicer to do them separately and to project like this. All right, so I'm going to start with a wall on the. I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to make the walls here. Okay, so this wall, I'm going to hit L for the line tool, and there's going to be a line that comes parallel to that and goes like that. And I'm actually just going to leave it like that. Okay, I clicked the little green arrow to finish making that line, because now I'm going to come in, I'm going to dimension this. I'm going to define the distance from that line to that line. Okay, and this is outside wall thickness. Should come in as 8. There it is. All right. And then from this point to this point in the horizontal dimension, go from there to there, okay, that should be the inside wall thickness, because there's going to be an inside wall down here. All right, and then we'll just finish up this wall to there to there, and there to there to there. Okay, you can see there's a couple of little funky things that are not defined. So this one here, first, I'm going to put a horizontal constraint on that. Okay, great. Now that's fully constrained. I'm going to put a vertical constraint on this. Okay, now you can see this is still blue. If I hit escape, you'll see I can still drag it side to side. And so I need to define where this goes in relation to something that's fixed. And I'm going to define it in relation to this point. So if I select these two and hit the D key for dimension and take the horizontal dimension like that, this is going to be outside wall thickness, because there's going to be another wall here, which is the thickness that's going to define that. All right, great. So there's that first wall. So this segment here is that north wall. That's going to be the base for the north wall. I'm going to go around, and I'm going to keep just doing that for these other walls. So grab the line tool by hitting L, come down here, and I am going to come past. I'm coming past this line. That's fine. We'll come out to here. Okay, back like that. All right, and we'll notice if I hit escape, it's given me this. It's made this sort of upside down L shape. It's filled in this section, which is part of the column. So I'm actually going to grab the line tool again and just finish off this little line segment here. And now you'll see, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, no, there we go. Okay, great. I don't know why. So great. So these are now two separate enclosed areas. So this should be constrained up there, but there's one thing here that's still blue, still unconstrained. And now this is going to be, I'm going to dimension this little guy here, and it's going to be the inside wall thickness. Okay, boom. All right, so now I'm going to grab, and we're going to work. So that's, now this is, if I hit escape, I can click that, and so now that is the east wall. All right, Here's the north wall base. Here's the east wall base. And by the way, we're going to put the windows in later, so don't worry about the window measurements just yet. We're just going to put the walls bases in, extrude them up, and we'll add the windows later. All right. So now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to grab my line tool again by hitting L, and I'm going to click here and drag. I'm not dragging actually, I'm just moving, and I want this to be about like there, but I'm going to connect it up to the edge of the door like that. Okay, and now that has made that section, that segment of wall. So that's what's that? The south end of the wall, which includes these little bump out walls into the closets. And I've got one problem here, which is that this is unconstrained. And so I'm going to grab my horizontal vertical constraint and boom, snaps to the vertical. And then there's that. All right. And this, I ended it there because this is where the door swings, and this area right here is going to be the doorway. All right. And so then I'm going to grab line tool again with L. I'm going to make a little box like that, okay? And this is just the little stubby section of wall on this side of the door, the left side if you're looking into the room. All right, but as you can see, it's still a little bit unconstrained, so what I'm going to do is hold Shift, click that, so now I've got this line segment and that line segment selected, and then I'm going to hit collinear, meaning that they are in a line together. Boom. Okay, move that just a little bit, and now it turned black because it is fully constrained. And so this and this together are the south wall base. We'll connect them up when we extrude them and add in the door. All right, and now we just have one more wall segment, which is the west wall here. And I'm going to hit L for my line tool. I'm going to click this little point down here. I'm going to come all the way here. I'm going to zoom in. And let's see, I want it to be vertical there, so I can feel that that's snapped. All right, and then I'm going to go like that. All right, and that's pretty good, except this is loose, so I'm going to put it close to where I want it, and then hit the horizontal vertical constraint. All right, so that should be the last wall, the west wall, north, east, south, and west. Okay, so that's all of the bases, basically the footprints for those walls. So now what I'm going to do is start extruding them up into components. And also, by the way, you can see that all the lines are black or purple. The ones that were projected are purple, but all the lines I created are black, and I've got the nice little red padlock on here, meaning that the sketch is fully constrained. So that's a good thing. All right, great. So I'm going to go in the same order that I did before. I'm going to select this. That's my north wall. And I'm going to go to Create, Extrude, which is right here. Or I could hit the E key. So Extrude. Okay, and here I could put in a number, right? And it'll extrude out to that height. But actually what I want to do is I want to use the ceiling height parameter. So we're going to extrude this wall up to the height of the ceiling. All right, and then here in the extrude dialog box, I'm going to do one important thing, which is I'm going to go down and I'm going to select new component. Okay, so now when it extrudes, it's going to create a new component, and I'm going to name it with the direction, the wall direction that it is. So we'll hit OK. And now it says just component 3, and you'll see I can hide it. It goes away. I can show it, and there it is. But but I'm going to rename this north wall. Okay, and that's the beginning of getting it so that I can hide and show the different walls as I demonstrated here. So here I've got north wall, and I can show and hide it. I'm sort of on my way towards being able to show and hide it. Okay. Now, when you extrude from a sketch, it'll hide the sketch automatically because it assumes that you only wanted to extrude once from it. In this case, we want to just show it again. So we're going to show it. All right. And now we want to come over here to the east wall, right? That's north. This is going to be east. So select that sketch geometry and hit extrude. And we're going to go ceiling height. And again, we don't want to do new body. We want to do new component. All right. Click OK. All right. Now let's go. Okay, so that's good. And then we're going to rename the component. I just click on the name once and then click on it again. And we can say east wall. All right. Great. Now we're coming in to do the south wall. Now this one, let me see. How did I do it before? I think I'm going to do one thing a little differently here. I'm going to come back into my wall bases sketch, say edit sketch, and I'm going to tie off, hit the L for the line tool. I'm going to tie off these little individual walls, okay? And that is separating, that is making these separate from the wall. Yeah, great. That's definitely what I want to do. You could do this a different way, but this is just the way I'm going to do it to keep track of what I'm doing. I'm going to say finish sketch, and I am going to extrude these three. So I hit E, and I'm going to extrude. So I click 1, 2, 3 to select those three. And then these are going to be extruded up to the closet height. All right. So there's my 3 walls for the closet. You can see that's lower. That's lower than the other walls, and that's fine because that's where this soffit is, where the sort of lower ceiling height is inside the room. All right, and those. Oh, I think I made a new body. Yes, I did. Let's see, I made these 3 new bodies. I don't actually want to make a new body. I want to go in here, right click it, edit feature. Instead of new body, oh, it won't let me do new component. Fascinating. Okay, so in that case, what I'm going to do is undo. Okay, now let's try this. We'll try this again without forgetting. 1, 2, 3. Closet height. Let's see if I can do new. Yeah, good. Okay. It wouldn't let me make a new. I had to undo it to make a new component. That's fine. I'll make a new component. And these I'm going to call closet walls. All right. Then we'll hit E again. We're going to get this guy, and don't forget this little guy. And we're going to send those up to ceiling height. And we're going to say new component. Okay. And this is the south wall. All right. And then let's see, a couple of things. I'm going to do I'm going to put in the door height. And it's 84 inches as a parameter. And then I'm going to come in to the south wall component, and you'll see if I want to, I can edit from here, that's fine, But if I want to keep it all contained in one component, I'm going to go into the component itself and select that component by clicking this little radio button. And so now I'm inside that component, and you can see that it sort of grays out the other stuff that's outside that component. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to create a sketch. All right, and got a couple of bodies in here. I want to hide body 1. All right, click on the face. All right, and then I'm going to put a line across like this, the line tool with L, and that's all right. And I'm in this sketch, by the way. I'll call it doorway profile. And you can see it's still not constrained. There's the blue. This guy is blue. So what I'm going to do is dimension that. So I'm going to hit the D key, dimension from that point to that point. Go like that. And we're going to make this door height. All right, great. So there it is, 84 inches, and now it's fully constrained. So that's good. So we'll go out like that, show body 1. And now what I want to do is extrude this surface. All right, we're going to go like that. And in this case, I want to, instead of extruding it a distance, so I could extrude it out, some distance, I want to extrude it to an object. So to an object, and the object I want to extrude it to is this face here, and I can do it by doing to this point. And there, and we say join, and we'll see it should join those two bodies together. All right, and now there's just one body in the south wall component. Great. Okay, so now I'm going to minimize the south wall tree, and I'm going to go back into the walls component. And now you can see that south wall is that it's got that doorway in it. All right. Last wall to make here is the west wall. So I'll come in and select that sketch geometry. Hit E for extrude. We'll go up to the ceiling height. All right. And we're going to say new component. Say OK. All right. We're going to rename this West Wall. Okay. So now we're getting pretty close. And I can hide this sketch if I don't want to see the sort of purple lines. I can also hide the origin if I don't want to look at that. And we're starting to get close to actually having a room. And you can see that these are hideable individually. They're separate components, but they're, spatially related to each other. I think I'm going to leave it there because we've been going for about 25 minutes, and I think that's a good length of video. So I think there'll be one more video where we will finish up. We'll put in the windows, and we'll put in the soffit up here, and these little cuts in the two closet walls. We'll add in the mirror. We'll put in the little column here. But we're getting close. So I think this is the goal for today. We'll try to get that done, and then do the windows and everything else another day. All right. Thanks, y'all.